Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Thank you. Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, we can all read this together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. My name is Dhrstadyumna, and today we'll be reading from the 3rd canto, 22nd chapter, entitled The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. I was thinking, we have the wireless mic. If someone is able to give like a small recap of what we talked about in the last class. It was Srila Krishna Prabhu's class. Any ideas? We can look over the text a little bit. We were talking about the dust of the Vaishnava's feet and the spiritual master, and how Kardama Muni was speaking to Swayambhuva Manu about the duties of a Kshatriya. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about marriage and grahastha life and being a parent, which is pretty funny. But somehow I'll try to make it applicable, try to make it something I can talk about. So we'll see. Jose, can you read text 15? Also, whoever's social distancing, if you guys want to come up, and we can pass the mic closer to each other.
The great sage replied, "Certainly I have desired to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage, according to the Vedic system, can take place."
Let your daughter's desire for marriage, which is recognized in the Vedic scriptures, be fulfilled. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her bodily luster alone she excels the beauty of her ornaments.
So we're hearing a description of Devahuti, and Kardama Muni is saying that their marriage according to the Vedic system can take place. So the Vedic system, Varnashram, Dharma. Text 17.
I have heard that Vaishvarusa, the great Gandhavara, his mind stupefied with infatuation, fell from his airplane after seeing your daughter playing with a ball on the roof of the palace. For she was indeed beautiful, with her tinkling ankle bells and her eyes moving to and fro.
So in the purport, Prabhupada he comments on how there are airplanes in Vedic society. There are airplanes thousands of years ago. And then also it's almost a comical situation. Someone's in an airplane and they see a beautiful girl and they like fall out of the airplane. And I'm not sure if he survived. I hope he did. But yeah. Text 18.
What wise man would not welcome her, the very ornament of womanhood, the beloved daughter of Swayambhuvamanu and sister of Uttanapad? Those who have not worshipped the gracious feet of the goddess of fortune cannot even perceive her, yet she has come of her own accord to seek my hand.
Therefore I shall accept this chaste girl as my wife on the condition that after she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu. It is free from envy.
So this is the verse we'll be covering later, and we're going to go 5 more verses. So.
The highest authority for me is the unlimited.
All right, so we can take into account what Kardama Muni is saying. What is he saying? He's about to get into this relationship. He's about to marry Devahuti, and he's citing his intentions. He's saying what he's going to do when he enters Grihastha ashram. So we can all keep an account in our minds what he's saying, because then we can compare it a little bit later to some other things. Text 21. Jai. Alright. Text 22.
After having unmistakably known the decision of the queen, as well as that Devahuti, the emperor most gladly gave his daughter to the sage, whose host of virtues was equaled by hers.
So just kind of to reiterate on, this is the point Manjari Gopika made on Friday, but she was talking about how it's kind of a misconception that the wife has no decision in the process of marriage. And actually a few texts ago, we'll read more onto it, but Kardama Muni says she hasn't given her mind to any other man yet. She's intentionally choosing her husband. Next text.
Empress Satyarupa lovingly gave the most valuable presents suitable for the occasion, such as jewelry, clothes, and household articles, and dowry to the bride and bridegroom.
The emperor was thus relieved of his responsibility by handing over his daughter to a suitable man. Swayambhuva Manu, his mind agitated by feelings of separation, embraced his affectionate daughter with both his arms.
This is the last text.
The emperor was unable to bear the separation of his daughter. Therefore tears poured from his eyes again and again, drenching his daughter's head as he cried, "My dear mother, my dear daughter."
So this is kind of it's a sweet scene. The emperor just gave off his daughter. And text 25, he says, "My dear mother." So if you look at the Sanskrit, he says the word Amba. And Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about how sometimes the father will affectionately call his daughter dear mother. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of odd. But then I was thinking, I've heard a few people in a few cultures, they like call their daughter like mamas or like mamacita or something. I don't know. Just trying to, yeah. All right, we can go back to text 19. And you can see some words, if anyone recognizes any words here in Sanskrit. There's a few cool ones. We know what a Paramahansa is, right? Paramahansa is the topmost elevated devotee. We have Dharman, duties, Dharma. We have Sadvim. So we know what a sadhu is, and then a sadvi is a female sadhu. So it's a sadvim. So I'll read the text. Ato bhajishye samayena sadvim yavat tejo bibriyad atmano me ato dharman paramahansyas mukyam shukla proktan bahu manye vihimstran ato bhajishye samayena sadvim yavat tejo bibryadatmano me ato dharman paramahangsya mukyan shuklan proktan bahumanye vihimstran. Please chant. Ato vadishe samayena sadvim Ato bhajishye samayena sadvim yavat tejo bibryadatmano me ato dharman paramahangsya mukam shukla proktan bahum. Ato bhajishye samayena sadvim yavat tejo bibryadatmano me ato dharman paramahangsya mukyam. Maybe one more. Ato bhajishye samayena sadvim yavat tejo bibryadatmano me ato dharman paramahangsya mukyam. Shukla proktan bahum. Thank you. All right, synonyms we can all say together. Ata, therefore, bhajishye, I shall accept, samayena, on the conditions, sadvim, the chaste girl, yavat, until, teja, semen, bibriyat, may bear, atmana, my body, may, my, ata, thereafter, dharman, the duties, paramahangsya mukyan, of the best of the Paramahangsas. Shukla proktan, spoken by Lord Vishnu. Bahu, much. Manye, I shall consider. Avihi Mishnan, free from envy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation, therefore, I shall accept this chaste girl as my wife, on the condition that after she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu. It is free from envy. Can someone read the purport?
Kardama Muni expressed his desire for a very beautiful wife to Emperor Swayambhuva and accepted the emperor's daughter for marriage. Kardama Muni was in the hermitage practicing complete celibacy as a brahmachari, and although he had the desire to marry, he did not want to be a householder for the whole span of his life because he was conversant with the Vedic principles of human life. According to Vedic principles, the first part of life should be utilized in brahmacharya for the development of character and spiritual qualities. In the next part of life, one may accept a wife and beget children, but one should not beget children like cats and dogs.
Kardama Muni desired to beget a child who would be a ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should beget a child who can perform the duties of Vishnu. Otherwise, there is no need to produce children. There are two kinds of children born of good fathers. One is educated in Krishna consciousness so that he can be delivered from the clutches of Maya in that very life. And the other is a ray of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and teaches the world the ultimate goal of life. As will be described in later chapters, Kardama Muni begot such a child, Kapila, the incarnation of the Personality of Godhead, who enunciated the philosophy of Sankhya. Great householders pray to God to send his representative so that there may be an auspicious movement in human society. This is one reason to beget a child. Another reason is that a highly enlightened parent can train a child in Krishna consciousness so that the child will not have to come back again to this miserable world. Parents should see to it that the child born of them does not enter the womb of a mother again. Unless one can train a child for liberation in that life, there is no need to marry or produce children. If human society produces children like cats and dogs for the disturbance of social order, then the world becomes hellish, as it has in this age of Kali. In this age, neither parents nor their children are trained. Both are animalistic and simply eat, sleep, mate, defend, and gratify their senses. This disorder in social life cannot bring peace to human society. Kardama Muni explains beforehand that he would not associate with the girl Devahuti for the whole duration of his life. He would simply associate with her until she had a child. In other words, sex life should be utilized only to produce a nice child, not for any other purpose. Human life is especially meant for complete devotion to the service of the Lord. That is the philosophy of Lord Caitanya.
All right, so we'll touch back on this topic again, but the purpose of sex life. Maybe Gokulananda, do you want to read this next paragraph?
After fulfilling his responsibility to produce a nice child, one should take sannyas and engage in the perfectional Paramahansa stage. Paramahansa refers to the most highly elevated perfectional stage of life. There are 4 stages within sannyas life, and Paramahansa is the highest order. The Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Paramahansa Samhita, the treatise for the highest class of human beings. The Paramahansa is free from envy. In other stages, even in the householder stage of life, there is competition and envy. But since the activities of the human being in the Paramahansa stage are completely engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, there is no scope for envy.
In the same order.
In the same order as Kardama Muni, about 100 years ago, Thakur Bhakti Vinod also wanted to beget a child who would preach the philosophy and teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the fullest extent. By his prayers to the Lord, he had as his child Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who at the present moment is preaching the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya throughout the entire world through his bona fide disciples.
All right, wow, what a purport. And Prabhupada is indirectly, who are Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's bona fide disciples who are preaching throughout the world? It's Srila Prabhupada. All right, so we can come back to the translation. Therefore I shall accept this chaste girl as my wife on the condition that after she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu and is free from envy. So today our theme is going to be how to be a Krishna-conscious parent, but not exactly like a parent, although a little bit, but more so raising someone in Krishna consciousness. And I thought a nice ring is parenthood in preaching. So the first, or the three topics I thought I would talk about is deserving and then desiring. And then two, I said, I thought this had a nice ring to it, pray for a ray, as in praying for a ray of Vishnu. So pray for a ray. And then the third one is fanning the spark, or watering the seed, whichever one, cultivating. So I thought first we can look at the difference between, we read about someone very recently, Kashyapa Muni and Diti, and we can kind of analyze the difference between their relationship and the relationship between Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So you guys can just call out some differences that we can think of. So the story goes that Kashyapa Muni was meditating, Kashyapa Muni, and Diti approaches him, and she says, all my co-wives, like the other co-wives, they all have children. I don't have any children yet. Like, please give me this child. I want a child. This child will bring good fortune to you. And, sometimes the wife can be like, you don't love me. You don't love me. And so he's meditating, and we see that he, although he's a great yogi, he's kind of taken by this desire. And so he begets inauspicious children with Diti. So I'm wondering, what can you guys see as the difference between this scenario and Kashyapa Muni and Kardama Muni? I mean, Kashyapa and Kardama Muni, the differences. Just call it out. Gokunanapuri. Okay, so Gokunanapuru nicely pointed out how, just like how a vehicle, it needs all the wheels to be working, all four wheels. Similarly, in the relationship, both the husband and the wife have to be on the same page spiritually. And any other thoughts on this? What was their issue? What was the flaw? Jose. Mm-hmm. Nice point. What was Diti's motive in having children versus Kardama Muni's? Yes, Diti, she wanted a child so that she could be on the same playing field as her co-wives. She felt underappreciated, underloved, and so she wanted this child so that she could feel that way. Versus Kardama Muni, he simply wants this child to be a ray of Vishnu. He wants this child to become a pure devotee, and actually, he's not interested in enjoying the sense gratification of household life. He'll have this child, and then he will go. And then I thought we've understood that the motive is different, And I thought a different thing is the strength of the practitioner. It's like what Gokulananda Prabhu was saying. We can see that Kashyapa Muni, he's a very powerful mystic, but still he wasn't strong enough to say no to this desire, to say no to it was the wrong time, wrong place, and so he wasn't strong enough. And so I was thinking, in connection to both being a parent and raising other devotees in Krishna consciousness, I was listening to this lecture from Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And he was making this point that we're focusing on congregational development now. And so it's no longer just one-time interactions with people, but you're with them every day, at morning program, every day, and you're seeing everyone. And so he was saying that if you want to make someone very Krishna conscious, you can't do that if you're not very Krishna conscious yourself. And he said that they'll actually have to find someone else to be with. If you want to make someone Krishna conscious and you're not very Krishna conscious, they're going to have to find someone else. And he brought up this point of Bombay, and he was saying, everyone in Bombay is so, he's like seeing a lot of growth there, and he's like, it's all because of the association of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Radhanath Swami. An intimate association there. And we can also see in Dallas, Tamal Krishna Maharaj has had so much intimate association with the devotees here, and it's very impactful. So we can make that point of we have to be very Krishna conscious if we want to make other people Krishna conscious. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was remembering how Srila Prabhupada, he put up the 64 qualities of a devotee on the wall. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj was like, Prabhupada did this for a few reasons. He didn't do it so that they could look at the wall and say, oh, Prabhupada's a pure devotee. Prabhupada wasn't like that. But it was more that he expected his disciples to come up to the standard and to get these qualities of pure devotion. And so when we have these qualities, then we can actually be strong enough and we can kind of deserve what we're desiring. We can actually, that Krishna conscious child will be attracted to the family that is calling for this Krishna conscious child. And similarly, when we have an environment where we want people to take to Krishna consciousness and we're very strong, we're very sincere, Krishna will send people to take to Krishna consciousness in our temple, in our ashram and things like that. So I thought that's kind of on the first point of, first we have to be qualified ourselves before we can get in this process of bringing someone up. And does anyone remember the two types of children of good fathers that Prabhupada spoke about in the purport? Talked about Nrsingarupa. Yeah, one was sent to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement, and that's kind of their purpose here. They're already liberated. And the second one? Yeah. Yeah, a child that the idea is that they will have their last life in this family. So they're not liberated, but the idea is that taking birth in this family is kind of one of their last steps that they have to take before they go back to Godhead. So I was thinking similarly, we also have to pray. We have to pray that people come to the temple, pray that people join the movement. I had this thought that this one devotee, they were saying, I had one brief interaction with the Hare Krishnas in Spain, and I saw Dhrstadyumna Swami, and it was a very brief interaction. But she mentioned how Maharaj prayed for her to become a devotee. And actually, that's the way that any of us become devotees, is that someone prays for us to become a devotee. Even people who are born in the movement, someone prayed for them to be born in the movement. So just as people have prayed for us to take to devotional service, we also have to pray for others to take to Krishna consciousness, whether it's our own children or whether it's someone on the street that we meet, someone who came to our program. We have to intentionally pray for them, pray for them to become a devotee. All right, so and then also in this, we can kind of connect these two kinds of children born of good fathers, the ray of Vishnu and the person who's determined to make this their last life. And we can apply that also with people who come to our temple, in that one time this devotee told me that we should treat them as though they will be a great acharya in our movement. They may look like a random ordinary person right now, but in a few years they could be the ray of Vishnu that was sent. We see many acharyas in our line, they joined, they weren't born devotees, but they were liberated souls the entire time. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for example, he wasn't exactly born in a Vaishnava family, but he joined, but he was a liberated soul. So similarly, we can have this vision with people who come to our temple, is that, oh, they've been sent by Krishna, and they've been sent to have this be their last life, or they've been sent to make a great contribution to the movement. Alright, so those are the first 2 points: deserving, then desiring, and then praying for a ray. And then the third point is, okay, we're praying for these people, you're praying for a child, but you actually have to be ready for them. You know, you can pray all you like, but if you don't have anything ready for them when they come, it's kind of like, what's the point? Mother Urmila, she made this point that Prabhupada mentioned that the Gurukuls, he said many projects were his most important, but he mentioned that the Gurukul system is one of his most important missions, most important projects. And that has to go side by side, that the child also needs training. They've come, but you have to train them. They need someone to train them. Sorry, just a second. And that's what the Gurukuls are for. And also making sacrifice for the child, making sacrifice for people who join the movement, making sacrifice in that way. And I was thinking, this picture, we can really see how Srila Prabhupada, he applied being a parent in his preaching. He was taking care of all these children, practically. They're teenagers, young adults, and he showed them how to cook. He showed them how to clean. He showed them how to use the bathroom and wipe themselves. It's like Srila Prabhupada, he was really, if you look at his letters, he even calls them my daughter, like my son, and he really sees them as his children. We can look at how this affection, I remember Mother Urmila, she was describing what is like sexual energy or things like that, and it's creation, it's vitality, but it's also connection and affection and emotion. And so the grahastas, they use that for their children, but also those who are not grahastas, they still have this energy that they have to give out to someone. They have to use it. They have to use this affection. They have to use this connection energy. And so they actually put it into the world. They make the world their family. And we can see how Srila Prabhupada did that personally. He took them in just like his own children. And that's how he started this movement. And then I guess just kind of a little point to touch on the rest of Prabhupada's purport. He talks about the ashrams. And he talks about how, there's the brahmachari life, grihastha life, vanaprastha life, sannyas life. And all of these are very kind of natural in the human course of life. And actually, varnashram is just to spiritualize this process. Everyone goes through life as a student. It's natural in human society that you spend some time as a student, you learn how to run your career. And at that time, you're kind of living at the expense of society. Your parents are paying for you, the government and things like that. And then people become married. So we can see that this is natural, and it's going to come in everyone's life where it's time for them to have children, have a family and things like that. So we can, even if now we don't have that, at a time there will be a time for us to share in that way. And then for those who aren't inclined that way, devotional life in and of itself is that when you advance to a certain level, you will have this need to share it with others. So I guess kind of the point is that this will happen very naturally, that it's our time to our time to preach, whether as a grihastha or as a renunciate. Grihasthas are preaching too, and actually they have the biggest preaching project, pouring gallons and gallons of blood into someone who they're hoping will become a pure devotee. So I kind of zoomed through those points. I wonder if you guys are able to catch on to any. I can do a little recap. So we talked about deserving, then desiring. We qualify ourselves. We are Krishna conscious. We have the right motive. We have the right reason for coming. We don't want them to just come so that, oh, I look like a big teacher. We want them to come so that they can advance. The second point is that we pray. We pray for a ray. We pray for them. And then when they do come, we see them as that. We see our children like they can become very prominent teachers in our movement. They can become very powerful devotees. And we see people who come to our temple in that same light, that we see them in that way. And then the third point, cultivation, watering the seed, fanning the spark, is that we have facility for them. And we're willing to put that sacrifice. We're willing to put our energy, our affection into these people, and to really take them in like our own children. So those are the total points. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments, questions? Nisingarupa Prabhu.
I was reflecting on the point you were making of, like, we never know who's coming into our temples, or, who they might be. It could be a ray, and we don't know it yet. Some of them join the movement, and it reminds me of the stories of like Shyamasundar Prabhu when he was carving Jagannath, and he was smoking cigarettes, and Srila Prabhupada didn't say, like, get out of the temple, I can't believe you're so degraded, or, he just said, I think not while you're carving the deity, and because he was able to encourage him and continue on, and, Shyamasundar Prabhu gave his life to Srila Prabhupada, and then the Beatles got connected, and so many millions of people heard the holy name and became devotees based on that. So anyway, it just reminded me of that, just the comment.
Thank you. All right, Rasraj Prabhu.
Thank you, Dhrstadyumna Prabhu. So there's quite a number of questions that are based off of. So there's these two kinds of. Well, let me ask you this another way. As the story progresses, yes, there is this is beautiful description of how Narada Muni is performing austerities and so on and so forth. But eventually, there is. Devahuti wants children, just like Diti wants children. Of course, it's not born out of envy, but still, and so there is all these beautiful heavenly planes that are created with all kinds of opulences, and then there is, sensual attraction which creates, different babies. There's all these daughters, and then there is Kapila, of course, which is. The Supreme Personality himself appears. So the question really is, there is attraction between male and female. Yes. And without that attraction, progeny seems not possible, almost. So how do you understand? This is not like the appearance of the Lord where it comes from the heart. There is sensual attraction. There is actual physical attraction. So what is the consciousness of the parent that is at the same time very divine? At the same time, there is physical attraction between male and female. How does you reconcile both of those at the same time? Does that make sense?
I don't have much realization on this, but I did read a little bit somewhere in that it's actually necessary that there's this attraction, and that's actually required for procreation, is that there is, there's this attraction between the man and woman. But maybe if any of the other devotees here have any thoughts on that. Oh, Prabhu was asking, or you can.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am that sex life that's not contrary to religious principles. So there's nothing Maya about a husband and wife who are both devotees and hoping to have a ray of Vishnu having attraction. That's a good thing.
Thank you.
Attracted to a devotee.
Yeah, I actually had that verse in the back of my head. I forgot to mention it. Mother Urmila makes this amazing point that each of the ashrams is a sacrifice. It's a yajna. Krishna says, I can be seen through yajna. That's how you can see me. And then what is the yajna of grihastha life? It's sex life. And then the product of that are good children. And Krishna himself says, I am sex life, which is according to religious principles. So it's a way that you can even see God is through that. Any questions from Gokunam? Yeah.
So I think it is there in the scriptures as well, but I happened to hear this from one of the senior devotees. So he said, more than the parents wanting, the Krishna conscious soul to be attracted, it is the soul who has, as just mentioned, the second category, right, who has practiced Krishna consciousness already and not achieved the goal, So it's a carryover case. So those souls are eagerly waiting, right? I think it is there in one of the purports to Karmana Deva Netrena. So the soul is eagerly waiting, and wherever there is a facility, to carry forward or carry over the Krishna consciousness from wherever you left off. So soul wants to enter in that situation where there is a facility to progress further.
Thank you. Any points from the Krishna house devotees? Jose? Any reflections, comments? Darnell? Sankirtan? Y'all speechless? Anything you liked? Draupadi?
I really liked how you added the parenting aspect of preaching. Like, it is the same thing. Because it makes it a little harder to... How do I phrase this? Before it was seen kind of like as a fall down if a brahmachari became a grihastha to have kids, but it is preaching, and it's good to see the mix of parentship both in brahmacharis and grihasthas. It's kind of the same sort of aspect. It's just done in different ways that are more suitable to your nature.
Yeah, Jai, thank you. I remember Kalakantru told me that the service of ashram leader is it's the best training for becoming a parent that a brahmachari can get. It's the best, it's as close to being a parent as you can get is taking care of new Krishna conscious devotees. So, all right, that's all. It's 8:31. It looks like we're doing Damodar Ashtakam now. So I guess that's the program. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bor Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.